Rockford's Home for Classic Rocks, 96.7 The Eagle. It's Double T on the phone. Special guest, Michael Sweet. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Just staying busy and active and trying not to kill myself in the process, you know?
You look at what you've got going on right now. I think I saw that you're working on some new Stryper stuff, new solo DVD, Sweet Lynch album out. How do you find time for everything?
Well, I just kind of rotate everything, you know? If you notice, Stryper puts out an album every 2 to 3 years. Michael Sweet puts out an album every 2 to 3 years, and Sweet Lynch puts one out every 2 to 3 years. So in rotation, it works out to be pretty much an album a year, almost, something like that. Yeah, an album a year. You know, so it's not so bad in the grand scheme of things. I'm touring a lot. I love to perform. And I'm one of those guys, I like to stay active. I go out of my mind if I'm sitting for too long.
Do you find it nowadays you have more freedom to do these other projects where back in the day you had to do Stryper album, Stryper tour, Stryper album, Stryper tour? Now you can do all these other little projects.
Well, yeah, I probably could have back in the day as well if I had set my mind to it. You know, I remember being offered a few solo deals way back when, back in '86, I got offered a solo deal. And I had the opportunity to write with a bunch of different people, and I never really took those opportunities. I just kind of thought, well, you know, Stryper's, you know, the priority, which it was, and because of that, I don't have the time. I probably could have made the time. These days, I make the time. I just do it. And I find, this is just my opinion, based on market analysis and club analysis and ticket sales and whatnot, I feel that so many bands, including Stryper, in the past, oversaturate the market. You know, when you're out performing every year and you're playing in some cities twice a year, you're going to start to see those numbers dwindle. And it's just a fact of life, especially for bands from our genre and at our level. You know, we're not a stadium Rolling Stones. I'm sure the Stones could do it, but most bands can't do that. So I found, and we have found, that when we tour for a year and then take a year off to go and make an album, then we come back and tour again instead of touring every year. It's much better for everyone.
It seems like a lot of bands do the tour thing every year because, you know, that's the way to make money nowadays. Each and every year they come back and you don't get a chance to miss them.
Yeah, and they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, though. And again, I have learned this personally the hard way. You don't really make money. You just become desperate trying to make money. And you're really not making that much money. And as the sales dwindle, the offers dwindle, and eventually you make less and less and less money until you get to the point where you're making no money at all. You're actually spending money.
Isn't it amazing how the music world works?
Yeah, it is amazing. And, you know, it's interesting because you get all sorts of comments from people online about, hey, you're promoting yourself too much, and you're doing this. And the thing people forget or don't realize often is this is what we do for a living. As much as it is what we love to do and just fun, it's also our livelihood.
You're in front of people all the time, too, whereas a normal person, they're doing their thing each and every day, but they're not in front of people all the time.
Exactly. And, I mean, when you have a job and you're quoted a salary, you know what you're getting at the end of the day and at the end of the year. That's not how it is in music. It's very unpredictable and all over the map, so you have to be very creative in how you do things. And Stryper, you can say we suck, you can say we're a joke, you can say we're silly, you can say whatever you want to say about us. But the fact of the matter is that we have been able to sustain for many years, and we still go out, and we're able to, thank God for my wife, who's a very sharp businesswoman, we're able to you know, have money in the account to pay the bills and still go make music the way we want to do it and go tour the way we want to do it. So there's something to be said for that.
I'm talking to Michael Sweet, guitar player, singer for Stryper, also Sweet Lynch. You have a new solo DVD coming out, too. Let's talk about some of those projects you've got.
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine, Andrew Joyce, who is just a super talented videographer and director and producer of commercials and whatnot. He did some work for Stryper, and I was so impressed. And we've continued to use Andrew for other projects. And he was kind enough to come out and shoot a solo acoustic show of mine at a place called The Narrows in Fall River. And we made it available for people because it's not so much a money thing. It's really not a profitable project. I mean, we're probably only going to press up 1,000 copies, and it's going to be very limited. And we did it more so just to kind of offer it to people who can't make it to Michael Sweet solo shows.
And if you went to the show too and you really enjoyed it, it's nice to go back and be able to see it again.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I've been saying on Twitter and Facebook, if you were there, you're in this video. I mean, you're featured. You're going to see yourself on the screen for many times for a good period of seconds, if not minutes, and people will be surprised by that. You know, if you were there, you're in the DVD and you're a star of the DVD, and it's pretty cool.
That is really cool for people. I was lucky enough to go see ZZ Top Storytellers, and when I saw myself on TV during the show, I was like, that blew me away. I was like, that is the coolest thing ever.
Absolutely, and it is. It is very cool, and we wanted to make sure that we did that. So, literally, I kid you not, everyone that came is in it. I mean, because we got footage of people hanging around in the lobby, hanging around at the show, coming into the show, exiting the show, saying hi to people. I mean, it's really cool how it's done. Andrew did a fantastic job.
And then another Sweet Lynch album. George is as busy as you are. I don't know how you guys have time to get together.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, George is a lot older than me, so he has less time to do more. And that's a joke, of course. But, yeah, George is a very busy guy, very incredibly talented and inspired musician, and you know, it's an awesome opportunity for me and an honor to be able to work with him, and because I share the same way of life and way of thinking, and you know, I'm a hard worker and very inspired person too, and I love to make music, and George does so just as much as I do. So the two of us together, it's like this incredible amount of energy that you can't contain, really.
Are you always writing music, or do you take certain times to write?
You know, in the past, I used to write all the time, literally daily. These days, I do it completely different. I'm a firm believer in the pressure helps me to write better and faster. So when it's time to make an album, like the last Stryper album, literally, I was touring up until about 8 days or 9 days before Robert and Oz came to my house. So I came home, I took a day off, and then I started writing the album, and I wrote the album. Oz sent me some ideas that he and I co-wrote together on a few songs. But I wrote the rest of the songs in 8 days. They came out, and I taught them to the guys. And it's just, I work really well under pressure, and then I may not write another song for 3 months or 6 months.
And that probably allows you, when you do write, boy, creativity just flows out.
It's just the way it works for me these days. I'm not recommending that to anybody.
Right.
It just works for me, and I enjoy doing it that way.
Michael Sweet from Stryper is my guest. Being a musician, how does that affect the holidays for you? How do you spend the holidays?
Well, it's hit or miss. I mean, one year we might be away during the holidays. Another year we'll be home for the holidays. Like, I just so happen to be home this year because we decided to record the album prior to Thanksgiving, the music, all the basic tracks, and then now I'm home to do the lead vocals. So I'm going to be home for the next month, and I'm really excited about that. Sometimes it works out that I'm gone now during the holidays, and that's never fun.
Do you make it up later on then, you know, after the tour's over? Do you do the holidays then, or do you kind of just say, well, that's how it went this year?
Well, fortunately, I am blessed in the sense that if I'm away during the holidays, usually or mostly my family's with me. So it's not like I'm away from my family, you know, but it's still kind of a bummer to not be home. So, you know, we make it up one way or another in time and vacation. You know, our vacations, we always laugh at that. Our vacations are basically like going on Monsters of Rock cruise for 5 days. and that's our vacation, you know. So it's It's not a true vacation in the true sense of the word, but it's still fun, and those are our getaways. And
you're doing that again this year. What is it like? I've always wanted to go on one of those cruises. What's the experience like? You're pretty much stuck on that boat. You know, you dock every once in a while, but when you're out in the ocean, you're out there with your fans, and there's not a lot of places you can go.
No, there's no place to go. And, you know, that's why it's important that you step back and look at why you're doing this. And I always do that. And I realize I started doing this for the fans. I will continue doing it for the fans. I mean, I do it for myself too. I love music, but I love people. And what is really important to me is when someone comes up to me and says, man, I listened to this song or that song and it changed my life. I was suicidal. I was an addict. I was an alcoholic. And that one song turned everything around for me. And that puts a giant smile on my face. It makes me realize this is why I'm here.
If there's any time you ever get tired of what's going on, being on the road, and you get an experience like that, it has to be just the amazing feeling.
It really is, and that's what lasts, you know, beyond the music, beyond the shows, beyond the amps and the volume and the albums. Touching people's lives lasts forever because they share those stories with their kids, and their kids share those stories with their kids. And it's generation after generation, and it literally lasts forever when you touch someone's life that much. And, you know, that's just mind-blowing to me, and that makes me realize that that's why I started doing this. That's why I'm going to continue doing it, and I hope to touch many more lives, too. I really do.
Do you remember an artist or a song that touched your life like that?
Oh, man, so many, so many. I know on the Christian side, Michael W. Smith, a lot of his songs really touched me back in the day. And believe it or not, another band called Sweet Comfort Band, which was Brian Duncan's band. And I used to play those songs in church on the worship band group. And then when I got more into, you know, mainstream music from the age of 13, 14 on, you know, bands like Boston, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Judas Priest, eventually Van Halen, really had an effect on my life. And it wasn't so much the lyrics that made me want to be a better person. It was just the music. It inspired me. It changed my life as a musician. It drove me to want to be better, you know, and in those ways, those albums really inspired me tremendously.
What do we have looking forward 2018 from Michael Sweet?
I am quitting music, and I'm going to go work at Lowe's.
Hey, man, if it works for you.
Exactly. You know what? It just, hopefully, Lord willing, a lot more. I've got the DVD out, pre-order now at michaelsweet.com, and it's going to ship mid-December, and then I'm finishing up the Stryper album right now. That'll come out in April. We're going to tour a lot next year, Stryper. We did it this year, again, for the reasons I explained earlier. And, you know, we're going to tour a lot, and then there's another album that I'm going to be recording next year. I just don't know if it's going to be a solo album or a Joel Holkstra, Michael Sweet album, or both. Pretty much every year, my plans are to every year record an album.
And what department of Lowe's will you be working then so we can find you?
I'm usually in the lighting department. Because I'm obsessed with light bulbs.
What's your favorite kind of light bulb then?
Well, you know, we're all switching over to these energy-efficient LED lights, and the tough part with those is it's hard to find one that looks natural.
Right.
They all look green or blue. So, you know, I'm always on a quest to find the perfect light. I go to Home Depot maybe twice a week. You know?
Thank you so much, Michael. Michael Sweet from Stryper. He's got a new solo DVD coming out. The new Sweet Lynch is out. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks to you too, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time, and God bless everyone listening. You have a Merry Christmas, okay?
Thanks, you too. Rockford's home for classic rock. It's 96.7 The Eagle.